So, hello again, sorry for the wait, and welcome to the Dev Play and Q&A session, the Tagmas edition. Let's get the starting soon screen out of the way, and then we'll be ready to start. There we go. So, we are starting with Azure from our dev team in the chat, and Draco and Comesteria and Scrisa from the QA team, and we have even more people joining us in the voice chat, and probably will be joining in the future games as well. We are starting in the... Oh, don't... Yeah, don't worry about that. So let's get the first game started in the... yeah, we are the Christmas mode for the first one. And then we're gonna get into questions as we play. And Azure is not in the voice chat, so he'll just be joining us in the chat. We have at least Fly confirmed in that chat as spectator. Oh yeah, I'm not actually a player in the first game. So that gives me more time to get started on the questions. As we see whether the three testers are going to be a match for our Dev Azure in Snowcastle building. So, you can ask questions in the Steam chat and also on our Discord server in the developer stream channel, and we'll be going over them as we play the game. Again, sorry for the wait, we had some technical issues at the start. Steam is very particular about the streaming settings. Nice to see so many people here. We are starting with over 100 people, that's crazy. And the first question in the chat is where to get emotes, and I guess that's referring to the earlier OJ emotes. You can get them from crafting booster packs for the game on Steam, and also I believe you can buy them directly from the Steam Point store if I'm not mistaken. And I guess you can also buy those emotes directly on the Steam Marketplace. I think so, at least. I haven't used that for a while. Confirm that my sound settings are looking good. Let me know if the audio balance is off with my microphone and the game audio, and I can fix that. Looks fine. You can see we have some of our spectators hanging around the field in the new spectator feature. And I'm here in the bottom corner. The other players, is that meaning that the Discord chat is not coming through? Because we have had that issue once. There was a fix for that, and I think I had to do it in the previous one. I just need to remember what it was precisely. I think it's because Discord itself is using a different audio channel. Let me check that. Yes, I think I found it. Okay, I believe it should be fixed now, but if someone in the chat can confirm, that would be great.
Hello!
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me, Major Tom?
Are we no longer silent?
Ow. Yep, is anyone hearing our other Discord players? Okay, I see some highs in chat, so I guess it's working now. Alright, thanks for pointing it out before we go through too many questions, which is something that actually happened earlier.
On a previous dev stream, yeah.
Isn't streaming fun?
It's not rife with technical issues whatsoever.
All right. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. We have some love for the spectator feature in the Steam chat as well. So, I saw we have a ton of questions on the Discord server, so let's dig into those. Let's see, where's the first one? The first question is very important from Christmas Mabayuaki. What is the favorite mushroom of Popo? Starting with the very hard-hitting questions. I don't have the character active right now, but there is a mushroom accessory for Popo, so from that you could theorize that's her favorite one. I believe it was the fly agaric, but let me see if I can quickly check that.
The who agar?
We're identifying mushrooms based off the mushroom costume.
I need to check the list of Popo
it's
cosmetics to
Popo's
confirm which mushroom it was. I think it was the fly agaric though. Which is a somewhat poisonous mushroom, but not like super dangerous.
Probably less dangerous than Fugu is.
Fugu's not a mushroom.
Ah no, it's not a fly agaric.
I know it's
I
not
was
a
thinking about
mushroom,
the
but-
hair coral, which is kind of fly agaric colored. But this is Okay, I guess it's a good question what mushroom this actually is. I don't think it's really based on any real mushroom. This mushroom Popo costume. But I think she would like boletes because they're like kinda short and thick and make for a good costume. Maybe a king bolet or something.
Porcini, maybe?
Maybe. I can't say for sure.
What about Amanita muscaria? That looks kind of like mushroom Popo, doesn't it?
Let me see. Can you speak again? Your volume was a bit low. I'll add it.
Apologies.
Okay. I think it's fixed now.
This.
I'll try to balance everyone's volumes if I see that someone is like too loud or too quiet. So right, so next question. Discord keeps switching where I am in the chat when I switch back to it. That's always very cool. Second question by Mabayuaki is, are there any plans for a new Aru event in OJ? That is a good question. When you think about Aru, you usually think about like Christmas, and she is pretty prominently featured in our Christmas events. But of course, that doesn't mean that she can't be featured in other kinds of events. So at the same time, it's true that at this moment we haven't had a new Christmas event for a while. The last one I believe was the Clash of Cakes, if I'm not entirely mistaken. So we probably will have a new Christmas event soon, but also it would be nice to see Aru featured in a different kind of event maybe. And we have a question from Kovi. Is Felibuster still the worst Popo player? I take some issue with that question. I'll have you know that I'm a very experienced high-level Popo player. I just usually hide my power level so I don't scare off new players. Oh, this is great. Every time I switch back to a developer stream chat, it takes me to somewhere like 2 months in the past in the chat. So, next question. Will Alicia and Roan and by extension the rest of the witches be in Season 3? A question by QP Executive and Investor. It's a good idea to pump those stocks. That's an interesting question. Like, insofar as you can say that any of the existing characters are at the moment in Season 3, which is definitely something that is worth discussing, then it's certainly not impossible to see that Alison Roan or someone very much like her could appear there as well, considering that there are some parallels for other main characters already. Oh, we are having a very beautiful castle coming up here.
I know, right?
I seem
Our
to be
staff is
missing a
really
lot of
going all out.
snow. I wonder if Azure knows
I
why.
love this. Castle building is always the best event.
Yeah, I love it.
Did you know that you can actually
It's way better with a full group
practice
of
the
people.
castle building in the arcade as well, any time of the year, so you can hone your skills there in preparation for the next time this event is rerun.
There's a pin and juices of a Kanata castle. Like it's literally just it's like literally her smug face.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can do in the arcade version since you have unlimited pieces.
Yeah.
I
That's
showed
right.
Tango and they literally like immediately pinned it without saying anything, and then
And we have a question from Morrigan. Are there any plans of adding more QP Keys characters in the future? I think the other QP Keys characters pretty much just exist on... I mean, you can say that Himeji is actually on a card. I'm trying to remember if any of the other QP Keys characters actually appear anywhere outside of
yeah.
like that one concept art.
I mean, a lot of them do appear on the art for President's Privilege.
Ah, did that have the other ones as well? Okay, then we have something there. Well, there are no imminent plans, but it's definitely something that could happen if there's like a demand for them. And if we decide that they have like a strong enough actual existence.
poor Himeji, he got kicked out of being the class president because of Kyosuke's OJ Dex entry.
Yeah, that's highly contested. It could of course also be a temporal difference.
That's what I choose to believe. I choose to believe that he got usurped somehow, and then yeah, I don't know. That's why he's not the president anymore. He lost the duel or something. I don't know.
Ah, I see. They go by Utena rules.
We also have a question from Just Laser GDE. Father Popo when, but we actually have Kai Hero already, so I don't think we'll have a Father Popo.
Wait, does that mean are we confirming that
That mean,
Kai's last name is Popo? Kai Popo?
Well, we don't really know what their last name is, but... And DJM334 is asking, are more campaign episodes planned for future updates as DLC? Most likely at some point. We don't want to do those like all the time. They're always like a pretty big commitment in terms of like preparation. And also they make the DLC more expensive for something that not everyone wants. Like some people just want the characters. But we definitely add those once in a while, so I'm sure we'll have one of those again in the future.
Geez, I'm warping so much you'd think I was playing Mixpo.
And we have a very good question by GameFace252 on Steam. Would it be possible down the line for the spectators to use the consumable emotes? With the exception of the hearts, I suppose, since it has to be your turn to let those fly. Yeah, That's definitely something on the to-do list, and you already mentioned the exception of hearts, and also, yeah, that's something that we would have. But for example, fireworks, maybe some other things, but yeah, that is planned.
I am not good at snowball fights. Good lord.
The main reason we also don't want to enable something like hearts from spectators, that it feels like it could become something like an option that people kind of use to harass the players, so we don't want that. We want them, whatever spectators do, we want it to be a bit more neutral. And we have a question by Ants, who first says dice rolls are cursed, but I just can't prove it. That's very sad. Question for the developer stream. Is there any way for a normal person to view the source code? If that's not possible, second question, if player A uses delta field and player B uses precise dice rolls, what happens next? Azure actually answered that first part in the chat already. No commercial game will let you see the source code for obvious reasons. As for the second one, if player A uses delta field and player B uses precise dice rolls, what happens next?
We're done.
I believe it's our intent that any dice fixing effects, the most recent one takes priority.
In general, that's always the case, yes. I'm trying to think if there's some condition that would make it not take the priority, because like it's not being similar enough effect, but I think precise dice rolls would just take priority. I don't remember specifically
Nico
testing it,
Chef.
although I would imagine it has been tested sometime during the Popomi testing. The Mimyu is unstoppable.
Or needs to go back to jail.
That snow
Yeah.
amount is getting pretty massive. Also, it's nice to see so many people here, and also has been wonderful to see so many people playing OJ this holiday season. We were very happy to do the 3 million download celebration with the free weekend and new character, and see it be received so well. That's always wonderful to see. And big welcome to both all the returning players, because we have had contact from many players who have not played the game for years and got back into it. That's great to see, but also to the new players, because we did the big onboarding change earlier to OJ. I think it was earlier this year, where we went through all the things that happened when a new player starts playing the game, and we tried to make it more approachable, adding the new tutorial video, changing some pop-ups and stuff like that, giving new advice and freebies to new players and so on. And it's been my impression that new players have had a better time getting into a game with this free weekend compared to like previous ones we had. Like, it's easier to land into, and that has been great to see.
That update was back in June of this year.
Right.
Sorry, Hugo.
That wasn't the big ticket winner though.
And we have a follow-up question to the previous campaign episode 1 by Lou on Discord. Going off this question, will we also see a season 3 campaign involving characters in the near future? Again, I don't know about near future, but if we do add a new DLC with a campaign, then I think there would be a decent chance it's related to season 3 characters. And next we have a
Fair
question.
enough question,
Yep.
since the season 2 event, the very first season 2 event, also released alongside a season 2 DLC campaign.
Yep, the Wanderers campaign, that's true. And next we have some questions by my IRL name on Discord about the custom field editor. So, Azure, wake up, this might be for you. The first question is, will you add some sort of penalty for playing on custom maps? For example, some people might make fields specifically engineered to grind games for pins or other rewards. Azure is the one who has been mainly working on the level editor update, so I think he's best equipped to answer any related questions. Let's see what he has for us.
Azure
he's
is answering through
the Steam chat. Okay. I mean in the in-game chat.
Day is
can
not
read
my
it.
day.
So he's saying that we discussed to have custom maps to yield limited rewards. There are, of course, several different ways we can approach this. Like, many games just don't give like any rewards for custom games and so on. But there may also be some middle ground. Because indeed it would be an issue if people just make like free grind maps basically.
It is a fact of life that gamers will optimize the fun out of a game.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So that is still remains to be seen basically. And we also had a second question related to that, which was, will there be some sort of check to make sure players are using the official editor to make maps and aren't editing existing ones, like in the current custom map method?
GG's.
Beautiful castle.
I felt very targeted in that one.
While I've been answering the questions, the first game comes to an end with a crushing victory by Mimiu.
Now I know part of why she was in jail to
Mimiu has
begin
been
with.
freed.
Grand Theft Snow.
Not sure if Azure wants to add anything to that question or answer anything to it, so I believe it would certainly be okay.
Oh yeah, justified indeed.
So Azure says that the actual format of maps made via the editor will literally be JSON files, so it will be even editable manually. But when it comes to making sure that people are actually using official maps,
Hey, let us in.
not edited ones,
I'll back out.
then I do believe it would probably be possible to
Right. There
for
we
the
go.
game to check for that. Maybe. Alright, time for me to show off my tag team skills. Oh no, it's getting more complicated.
Not me forgetting what the password is. There we go.
Please do not say it vocally.
Obviously.
Remember that time that Sarah actually managed to get in because of seeing the lobby on password on stream? That was cool.
She's an honorary popo, so
They.
Oh, here's a good question. Silent Crane in the stream chat is asking if there are any plans to add more Twitch integration, such as a automatic player rotation system for spectators.
That's an interesting question. I don't remember anyone specifically suggesting that before, or at least I don't remember it.
it wouldn't be the
But-
first. OJ wouldn't be the first game to do that anyway. The Jackbox games started out as being designed specifically around a couch of friends, but got really big in the streaming space, so they added in the audience feature, and one of those features extends the timer to account for stream delay.
I'm not sure if that was related to this specific suggestion, but I do think in terms of like whether it's technically possible, it probably wouldn't be the most difficult like lobby option to add. By the way, the question was asked by Suint Crane in the Steam chat. And we also had a question related to the custom maps by Kirubotu on Steam. Regarding custom maps, do you think you could add in a feature where the devs approve of it? Some form of this system might be possible through the Steam Workshop, possibly. Like, if some map is like approved in terms of like, this seems like a balanced enough map in terms of our normal map layout, then it would have like all the same rewards as playing on official maps, something like that. It might be possible. Not sure if Azure has anything to add on that topic. He's saying, yeah, we might do this to allow regular rewards to be added to those verified maps, right? Of course, some of that would probably also come down to like, what kind of volume are we looking at with these maps, because you would have to like manually verify those. But in principle, it might be doable. I like birds says, here's a for fun question. What are some tag team character combos you like playing with? Anyone feel free to answer that? I was just trying to remember some fun combo when we are starting, but my head is like blank.
Oh, that's an interesting question for sure.
So, when I started this thing of tag team, I randomed cuties in their waitress outfits, and then I thought, oh, I should pair that with the sweet god in her chef outfit. It's like you're going to the back of the restaurant.
Nice. I remember
Yeah,
talking about some very fun combo with Sweet Blocker just earlier, but I just can't remember who the other one in that combo was.
I really like cuties in tag team, saving the live mode stocks with your partner and be able to switch at the best moment. And to add to the star gen, Parser is nice.
Okay, that's really funny.
No, not that one. Who stole my fish? Where's my fish? Ah, no, someone
Nico
stole
and
my
C
fish
have some
again.
potential synergy because they both benefit from
Oh,
gift
no.
cards. Maybe not the best
How the heck did
combination,
I
but
win that? That was
It's
Someone
not-
stole
terrible.
my fish 2 times.
it's not anti-synergistic.
And Scryza has some ideas. Real tag team combo, manager plus sweet blocker. Or maybe more realistically, Sukuri 46 billion years plus sweet blocker. And Borber is saying Popo plus cuties is kind of funny, kind of really interesting because you can tag in out. No, hang on, I'm switching messages. It's funny because you can live mode directly onto someone. And Nico plus Lost Child is really interesting one because you can tag in out and activate forwards backwards movement on demands. Alright. I guess that makes
that
sense,
is
yeah,
really
because
strong.
on one of the characters the backwards movement works, and on the others it doesn't, so yeah, that's such an interesting one.
Oh, and that would work with my Nico C idea because you could go turn right around and then you can attack into someone with +2 attack and evade.
Yeah. That's an interesting one, yeah. And Kovi asks, did you guys ever think when you released 100% Orange Juice that it would still be alive by now? Did we think it would still be alive by now? I guess it depends on what you consider alive. Like, when we originally released it on Steam, like, we delayed this. It was back in the old days of Steam Greenlight, for those people who even know what that means. But basically, games releasing on Steam was much more limited than it is now. And at the time, when 100% Orange Juice was approved for the Steam release, that was already like a big deal. So we had a chance to just release it when we got the permission. Or we had the option that we discussed that what if we just like put in the extra work and add in the Steam multiplayer support, which was of course something we had no previous experience with. And we decided to do that just to like, because we felt like the game had potential in like the multiplayer aspect, but it was very limited at the moment because the actual multiplayer setting up the sessions was very difficult. So we had some expectations that it would do decently with the Steam multiplayer aspect, but of course it definitely did much better than we ever expected. And we originally had no plans to like keep adding more content to it. It's just like when you release a game on Steam, it usually is like first week high sales and then it tapers off. But in the case of 100% Orange Juice, the release sales were not particularly high, but then they just kind of stayed constant after the release week. So we're like, oh, that's interesting. And as soon as we saw that they're like continuing, we were like, okay, we'll just keep working on the game, and we started adding more multiplayer features. And eventually later in the year, we even did the first DLC in collaboration with OJ, who of course were very happy about the game's surprise success from their point of view as well. So after that, we have just been chipping away at the game. And I don't think we ever thought about it in the terms of like, is it still gonna be alive 10 years from now? We have just been like thinking about the task at hand and what's in the immediate future, and like trying to improve the game in all the possible regards, and that's just how we ended up here. That was a pretty long answer, but I hope it answered the question. Super Dragonite comments, those who know Greenlight have aged by 10 years. That is true. That is so nostalgic.
And I am including myself in that, so it's not just me throwing shade at other people.
Zoe's going crazy with the purple dice.
Just a small addition to that, it's just like, of course, like the original 100% Orange Juice game was developed in 2009. So if you're looking at the original code now, that is like very old, and it's probably limited in how well it would even work on modern systems, although I haven't exactly tried recently. But because over the years so much of the code has been like updated to be more modern, it should be like good to go far in the future. And of course, as long as we keep updating it, we can keep making that happen. But even right now, it's like much more forwards compatible compared to the original.
And a heck of a lot more performant. Thank you, Rafa and team.
Yeah, some of the older players may remember a time when it took like 30 seconds to launch the game.
Yeah.
Ah, how times have changed.
It still takes that long to launch the game if you're subscribed to 200 mods.
I wonder how you would know that, Zoe.
Oh, guilty.
Do you have all 200 of those active at the same time?
Just what the doctor ordered.
I think it's best if I don't answer that.
And Flying Forward is asking on Steam. Want to ask your thoughts on giving players the option to change the frequency of mystery event in lobbies, like from 5 to 4, for example. I think being able to see a variety of field events throughout the match is really cool. So I've grown to like mystery, but sometimes I wish I could make it faster. Well, I feel like around 5 chapters is a pretty standard frequency for events, and since mystery can give some of the more powerful ones as well, I think it's kind of fair to keep it at 5. 4 might be a bit much, maybe. And we also have a technical question from Kiru Potu on Steam. What's the next technical advancement for OJ? Something on the similar level of the faster loading. I know the game's engine is being improved and updated, so I'm curious what's next in that regard. I'm sure Azure has some thoughts on that, but I guess the obvious answer would be that we have been experimenting on the on freeing the entire multiplayer from Steam, basically, which would make it possible to place the 100% Orange Juice multi-platform as well. Because at the moment you can only play it through Steam because it uses the Steam networking. So that is something that is currently being actively looked at. And if we can work out all the kinks, it might be a pretty cool change in the future, making it possible to play the game pretty much on all platforms and still play together with everyone else. And Astrorace seems to think that that for the next thing, yeah. That would indeed make even crossplay possible. And at that point, it might even be possible to like release the game on Switch, for example, and you will still be able to play together with everyone else. Assuming they are also on the same game version, of course, that's another kind of warmth if you are thinking about the console release. At the moment,
Oh, I rolled too many
is...
Popo dice.
Yeah.
Oh,
At the moment, OJ is on Windows, Linux and Mac already, so we are already like making 3 builds for the game every time we update it. And of course, if we add more platforms, that's more stuff we need to keep updating every time we update the game. So that's always something to consider. But it's becoming more and more possible in general. Let's see some more questions from Discord. Alai is asking, do you have plans for more live mode songs, like Pudding Pop or Star Baker Breaker in the future, or is it out of the picture right now? It's definitely not out of the picture, and if people like the songs, we will make more of them over time. Like, it's not something we will ever like chain manufacture, but we would like to add more theme songs. And we even have like thoughts about some to add already. So it's been a while since the last one, so it might be something we'll be looking at next year again. If you have a character you would really like to hear a theme song from, let us know. And also what your thoughts are for what kind of song that character's theme would be. Because the genre of the songs is always also something to think about.
I need tequila sea shanties, thank you.
That'd be pretty funny, yeah. A pirate I was meant to be.
Would that be with Mescal and Harmony?
No, it would be with all the other pirates on Harmony.
Pirate Ship Quartet.
Make it a cappella.
Exactly.
That would rule so hard. Ah.
Not my best performance.
oh.
And we have a question by Sweet Saki on Discord. I don't know if anyone's asked this already. Seems not. But when are next new characters planned to release on? That was already on the roadmap for... Well, it was already on the roadmap for like coming soon section, I believe. But I think the next 2 DLC characters will come pretty soon. We actually originally planned to release them for Christmas, but we ended up with so many features to pack in the 2 December updates. We were just like, okay, let's leave those out for now and look at that next year, because it was just like we had too many other things to worry about. But they will be coming soon. I can say that the voices for the next 2 characters are already recorded, and they are pretty awesome.
That looks promising, for sure.
Ah.
Kobe says, I remember the hype when I saw who voiced Sumika. Yeah, that was a pretty big one. Kind of like Tokuisora for Popomi as well. Of course, we don't always go for like the biggest and most popular voice actors. Like it's always more about finding someone who we feel fits the role, but sometimes that just happens to be a very famous voice actor, and in some of those cases we are just like, okay, instead of trying to find someone who is similar, let's try to get the person themselves, and sometimes that works out. And Louis also asking, is the next event gonna feature Rinse and Suisho? If you're talking about Season 3 events, that seems very likely, but of course, there might be other new events in between before the next Season 3 event. That's possible. And Flebaster's assigned no-name guy is asking on Discord, how many new story events you got planned for the next year? I can't really answer that at the moment. We'll need to discuss more about the roadmap for next year. Like we were extremely busy for making all the planned content for December, and we haven't really sat down to discuss what's next yet. We are kind of like just taking it easy mode until the rest of the end of the year, pretty much at the moment. So we will see about that. And they also ask any neat reruns you are planning in the next few months. I think the next Season 2 event rerun is probably gonna be on the menu pretty soon, and that would be...
That would be Treasure Tales.
Treasure
No,
Tales.
that would be Path to
Path to
Secrets.
Right, I
Secrets?
was saying Path to Secret, but in Treasure Tales. Right. But I think it's Path to Secrets.
But we also want to retire Bounty Hungers before then.
We need the Helena swimsuit for the Path to Secrets rerun. We need it.
Sorry, you made the sandwich.
They also asked, was there an event you had planned but had to cancel? If yes, what and why? I guess that's referring to in-game events, because the earlier question was about that. Was there anything we've ever planned but had to cancel event-wise? Nothing comes to mind for me immediately. Of course, sometimes like the actual gameplay, for example, changes from what we had originally planned. But I can't think of anything we had to like cancel event-wise. Does anyone else remember something like that?
Nothing
don't
immediately
think we've
comes to
ever
mind.
had to do that.
Yeah, I don't think we have. That's ever happened to us. And their final question is, what is Fruit Factory's official stance on AI usage in games? Well, we don't use any Gen I, and it's also something we kind of look at when we are like evaluating new projects. Like, we try to very gently and in a friendly way find out if the developers are like using AI in their development. It's of course a bit sensitive topic, but it's definitely something that is always on our radar. But yeah, there is no Gen
On
I
our
in any of
radar
our
because
games.
we're trying to avoid it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Just have to make sure that's clear.
Yeah. Like, I could definitely see there being some cases of a gray area with like a new project, depending on the exact process the developers have been using, but so far nothing like that has come up. Like, it's definitely a bit of an annoying topic to deal with at the moment. Like, it's everywhere. even if I just like go anywhere, it's in all the ads and everything. It's like, yeah. But at the same time, I follow all the news and everything, and it's pretty easy to see that gamers themselves are not very positive towards Gen AI. And I can definitely understand that because I'm in the same camp myself.
At this point, I think the vast majority of us are just tired of hearing it every single moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
When we make placeholders for games, it's real placeholder art, which is usually awesome MS Paint sketches.
There have been some hilarious bits of placeholder
Yes.
in the past.
They sometimes make it to testing just to amuse everyone.
MS Paint is beautiful, beautiful thing.
Let me see if I can release the placeholder art, because I actually just saw a great one recently. Maybe I can put it on the stream. Just give me a sec. Okay, I found it. Let's download that and put it up on the stream. When it's not my turn. You will be shocked by how beautiful this is, but it's very representative of the kind of placeholder art we use in games. Add an image.
I hope you roll ones. Good enough.
So this is the kind of placeholder art you can expect in our development. It's visible on stream right now for those who are actually in the stream with me and not checking the Steam chat.
Glorious.
Wonderful.
Alright, I hope you enjoyed that.
Amazing.
Sorry, I'm unstoppable.
Oh
How
damn.
dare
Zoe proving to everyone here that Wins Norma is actually viable.
I had some other placeholder art linked on Discord as well, but I'll take a look at that later. Maybe it's something funny we'll post on Patreon later or something.
I didn't know you could boost that.
Yeah, you'll just take extra damage. It's
You're kidding me!
oh wow.
And we have a question by Santa Penguin. on Discord, are all the sweet cards canon outside of 100% orange juice? For example, QB's confirmed sweet card from QB, Shooting Dangerous Natsume is from the same series, so is she also a canon sweet card there? The way I look at it is like the cards kind of exist outside of time and space, so if you're like a sweet card in one of the games, then you are a sweet card in all of them. It's just a question of do you appear there or not.
Hey, Flay, what the heck? Why?
Why not? I'm an agent of chaos.
The best agent.
Let Zoe roll 1 and fight the boss.
I
She
have
can't.
Popo dice, sorry.
Oh yeah, true.
And
You
we have a question on Steam from Kiru Botu. When you go for making a
GG, also, I
character,
hate you.
what is...
Jeez.
Oh no.
Oh, Sherlock Bones, I forgot that line.
So the question is, when you go for making a character, what is your process usually for finding music for those characters? In most cases, we just get the character tracks directly from OJ, so we don't need to look for them. But there are some cases where it turns out like the track doesn't really work for whatever reason, like maybe it doesn't really loop, like it's too short or something. That kind of stuff sometimes happens. So sometimes we need to look for one, and we usually look for them pretty much like the same places where the original ones are posted. Maybe same artist even. But it's not super common. I guess the more common thing is adding tracks for like new fields, like we have been adding the field tracks recently. Let's see.
I believe the process of finding a BGM is different depending on if it's a character or not, right?
Sweet Green asks, I'm curious what card that placeholder art is for. It was in the attached chat, but it was for look how long my arms and legs are. And Kake Kitsune is asking any plans adding chicken, seagull, and roboball in the OJ decks unit lore. I guess that might be something that happens in the theory, although I'm not sure how much actual lore we'll find for them. But at the moment the focus is just on finishing like the main list, and then we will like double back to other kind of characters.
Yeah, every playable unit will eventually be in the OJ decks.
And that's the awesome part.
The seagull pin, indeed.
I know someone that really wants it, I'm sure. Draco building up the perfect team right now.
Well, we have an insane
Sorry,
amount of... I probably... okay, after this game I'll switch to spectator. I'm seeing that there's actually an insane amount of questions that we still need to get through. Of course, it's very nice
Okay,
that we
every
have been
time
getting a
just
lot of
played all at
questions.
once
That's
there.
very welcome. And if it somehow turns out that we don't have time to answer all the questions before we run out of time for the broadcast, then I guess they will stay for the next QA stream and we will go over them then. So don't worry, we will eventually definitely answer them. We basically keep priority to the Steam chat, and then when we have time from those, we will go over the previously sent questions we have on Discord. We had more questions from Flebuster's assigned no-name guy. Are Popomi and Mother Popo and Mari Popo and Mix Popo the same character? Oh, that's a tricky one. I leave out Popomi from this one, but you can definitely say that Mother Popo and Mari Popo are the same character, but also you should remember that there are multiple Mari Popos. So, I mean, even the original campaign confirms that there are many of them. So she's definitely a Mari Popo, but which one from the campaign she is, it's like more difficult to mention. Or more difficult to like clarify. And Mixed Popo can probably be said that's also one of the Mari Popos who has gone on an adventure probably. Also asking, will Pete ever get a newer alt character like the rest of the base cast? I think most of the base game characters got like a second version by now. We are missing Pete and I feel like there was at least one other character, but who was it?
I think it's just Pete.
Really?
Yeah.
But he has to wait until Flying Red Barrel gets its sequel because it will star him, clearly. It's definitely happening.
I see.
100%.
I mean, the other character who didn't have one was Kai, but Kai Hero exists now.
Right.
It's really funny that you like ignored the question in between, but whatever. It's not really a question that can be answered. I just think it's really funny.
Yeah, of course we get a lot of silly questions, so we'll do some filtering.
Flying Blue Crow is real if we all will it into existence, which you should, because it will be incredible.
We are definitely still missing Blue Crow the second version.
I'm waiting for Fernet Pilot, personally.
Fernet Pilot Noble.
Oh. That would be awesome.
I don't know if Mar Pilot is just like a better version of Mar, kinda like a better hyper. Then like Fernet Noble Pilot might be like the most overpowered character in all of existence.
I can see this.
But yeah, I think there's a decent chance we'll get like a new version of Pete at some point when we are looking at more characters, like do a so-called renewal version of, because everyone else from base game already got one. And Sweet Grain is also asking, with the large amount of 100% OJ Season 2 and 3 characters, it's going to be a little more difficult to find a character in that group since they all have green background. Will the characters for Season 3 get a different color background in the future? Well, there's no current plans, but I guess we could have some split in the future, like we did the Sukuri and Sora character split, even though you can argue they're from like the same base game, so there could be like a slight background color change or something. And they also asked, will playable enemies ever have a lore and pins in the OJ decks? We kinda answered this already, but the plan is that basically everyone will have something there, but the pins are like made for the main cast first, and then we'll get around to the rest eventually. There's some more lore questions on Maripopomi, but I'll skip those and let players think about that on their own. I don't want to give any extra comments on the Season 3 character lore at the moment. That's not in the
Some
game
things
from
must
official
remain a
sources.
mystery.
Zephyr Dragon Lord on Discord asks, do most popos just not speak human language because they find it cute? But it costs the popos to speak in human tongues anyways. That is a much debated topic. Like, it has been clearly established in the campaign that popos can actually speak normally when they want to. So I guess you can definitely make the assumption that maybe they just like the popos speak, like because it's cuter or something.
I think with
For all we
Popo,
know,
you
it's
can
more
assume that
efficient
it's
mode of
more annoying.
communication.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Zoe.
It's encrypted dialogue.
They are agents of chaos. To be understood would undermine their existence.
Yeah, Shriza gets it.
Exactly.
And we have a question from Ren. What are the chances of other Orange Juice games coming to consoles in the future? Well, I wouldn't say it's zero. It's definitely something we might be looking at in the future, when it looks like our staff needs more projects to work on, for example. Stuff like that is usually mostly a question of manpower. I don't think they would be the easiest to port because of the current engine they're on, but it probably also wouldn't be impossible. And we have a question by May, the Kanata fan. Which character is each dev's favorite and why? This is a question that keeps coming up, and that's fine. Anyone else want to contribute theirs? My answer is usually pretty boring to this one.
My go-to favorite is usually Kai, but a lot of the cast deserves love and attention. So don't feel bad if your favorite doesn't match someone else's favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, but you didn't answer why.
difficult question. It's just kind of high energy, which kind of fits.
I don't know if I need to explain mine. Oh, hey.
I usually have trouble answering that question because I play pretty random characters and I feel like I kind of like pretty much all of the characters. But I have to say that I've really liked Popomi. Like, she's been like especially fun to play with recently. But of course, it's a newly added character, so I'm sure it's some of it is that. But as like a base game character, I think she's really fun.
I'm only keeping quiet over here because I'm not a dev.
Your opinion still counts.
Yeah, just go ahead and answer.
Yeah, we did answer.
I'm writing everything down, so you know. I don't know.
My favorite character is Pete because he is the best character. Simple as that.
Fair.
Understandable, have a good day. Yeah, just like him because of her character, really. The chill aura that surrounds her is really nice. What do I do here? There we go.
Like Scryza's answer. That's good.
I'm also
Yeah,
a
because
big
if you have
Tyrion
creation, you need to have destruction, so she needs to let some destruction happen.
There are a lot of great character moments in 200% mixed juice. It's very fun.
Oh yeah.
Mixed Juice is definitely when I started getting attached to the cast, even when I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, if you want silly character development, the mixed juice is a gold mine.
My favorite bit is when QP and Saki like see each other, and then they're like, and then they're too similar of characters, so they know they have to fight. Or yeah, that, or it's like Kai and C are together, and they both have like the same ridiculously drawn, super big smiley face, and they're like, "You guys are really boring." It's a good thing we never have the problem of being really boring.
We have two very intensive questions from Matti. The first one is, what criteria must be met to decide when to balance a character and to what extent the balancing goes? And I'm not sure if this is talking about like when we are adding new characters to it or some character who has been in the game for a while and we decide they need like rebalancing. And the answer is very difficult for both of them. But let's assume that it's about like characters who are in the game and we decide they need rebalancing, which sometimes happens. And it's usually for... Okay, I can think of three reasons. One is that they are performing very poorly. One is that they are performing like way too well. And one is that they are not fun enough to play. Those are the three scenarios I can think of, which might get us to like reevaluate how they play. And when it comes to like the extent of balancing, the thing is that actually even the smallest changes you make to character usually have a like pretty big effect on the outcomes. Like an old adage from doing the character balancing is that like adding one stat to the character will like increase their win rate by like 5%. So we are usually working with like a fairly limited design space in terms of like, if you're thinking of like buffing or nerfing a character, like you have to bear in mind that any change is actually gonna be pretty big, any change we make. So probably the most common scenario where we actually do this rebalancing is when we decide that people are not finding a character fun enough to play because of some annoying thing that they have that is not offset by their advantages. And those are probably the most common adjustments we have done recently. And when it comes to those, it usually ends up with some kind of adjustment to their passive or hyper or a combination thereof. And the second question they had is, what experience do the devs have with 3D design and applications in games, given most if not all FPF games seem to be 2D based or visual novels? Well, that last part is not entirely true, and I also can't speak for all the experience of all the developers. So, I don't know, maybe Azure wants to say something to that. But we have worked overall, like as Fruit Factory, we have worked on a bunch of games that are like more 3D, including like the OJ shooters like Sora, for example. Like even some of the 3D rendered backgrounds in 100% Orange Juice at the moment come from Sora, for example. And Azure is saying that he has experience in isometric games, so 2.5D. Meanwhile, back to the Steam chat, we have some more questions. Rafa is trolling us there. Make flying red bar vertical on Switch real. And Kirubatu is asking, will we ever get the remaining Season 1 characters at some point, like Scientist and Yukito, assuming in the further future? I wouldn't call those Season 1 characters, also I can understand the confusing in that terminology. Like Season 1 characters would basically mean like the original 100% Orange Juice characters. But there are still some characters, of course, from other Orange Juice OJ games that are not in 100% Orange Juice yet, including Scientist and Yukito, for example. And it's fair to assume that over time those, at least mostly, will be added as well. I like Birds ask, how do I unlock Poppy Derby? Wrong answers only. Popo Derby.
Any answers will be used as a citation in the wiki article.
Popo Derby isn't something you unlock, it just happens to you.
It's a state of mind.
You gotta
I'm actually shocked by the question because it implies that I Like Birds hasn't unlocked Popo Derby yet. I thought like everyone has it already. It was a big thing when it was added, and I just felt like everyone has it by now.
Yeah, have people not been able to access Popo Derby?
Hugo, why?
Maybe need to add something about that to the tutorial. I didn't realize it'd be an issue. So it was good that it's got flagged. Definitely something that we'll need to look into. My IRL name is asking, are we getting more sentient buildings in OJ? Castle needs friends. Probably nothing planned right at the moment.
Maybe if we get a castle alt.
And Killbot is saying or asking, obligatory Moss column when playable. That is on the radar. Definitely something we want to add in the future. It was the previous time we discussed that was one of the possibilities to add the playable Moss column for the 3 million celebration as well. So it's been that close in such a close consideration. But at the time we decided to do other stuff instead, but it's just definitely coming in the future. And my IRL name also asks, are there plans for more in-game videos like the tutorial? We might be adding more tutorials in the future, but also one of the reasons for even adding the video functionality in the first place was that we had the previously announced audio dramas coming for 100% on its shoes. So of course we will be also adding an in-game player for those, so at that point you will have more in-game videos as well. Because even though they are audio dramas, of course they will be delivered in video format so that you can watch them with subtitles. Which also answers a further question by Flebaster unknown guy who also asked, I think it was an answer. I think the audio dramas are going to be videos. Yeah, that's correct. And we have a question by Lulu's wife Pandora. Is Popo forklift certified? Yes, that I don't remember exactly when it happened. It's been the patch notes. It's been happened a few years ago. Just don't remember exactly how long.
Popo was, but is Popo me?
Oh, was it about Popo? Oh, I thought it was about Popo. That is a good question. Of course, everyone knows that Popo is forklift certified, but Popomi has not been confirmed yet. Yes, I tried reading that, was like, what is this? And just skip that.
Smart choice.
People trolling with their names.
Uh-oh. Okay.
And a question by my IRL name, will you ever do a Mios cake baking stream? Probably not, although it is worth noting that when we did the unconventional art contest, one of the submissions, which I believe won their category if I don't remember incorrectly, was someone baking Mios cake in real life. That was pretty awesome.
Of course, the traps. Very bold of you. Okay.
I never claimed to be smart.
Okay, sure. Wanna play?
And we have an interesting question by AST92. Has there ever been a character you all worked on that became too complicated mechanically and had to be toned down? I think that's a very interesting question. It's definitely something we try to be conscious about whenever we are like working on a new character. Like trying to keep their passives and abilities like easy to understand and not like doing too many different things at the same time. Like having 5 separate effects on the character. And I'm trying to think if there's ever been like a character that became too complicated, but we have definitely done like some toning down of some passive to make them like just more easy to understand for players, even though it means that their mechanics actually change in the effect.
Alright, I actually have a specific example I can mention here if you want.
Can you keep it on Discord? I'll check what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can I stop for only one? Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Uh-oh.
yeah. I think you can share that one. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah. So Kanada's passive. So you know how right now it will like reveal what type of card it is. It used to actually like show what. So it used to only show what kind of card it was, like up until the enemy would like discard a card or something, because like if they discarded like if they like drew and discarded in some ways, you would not be like technically you would not be able to tell like which card was which. But then like that'd be really complicated because then your knowledge of what card people have would just like disappear if they played, or like if they played a card, then like theoretically that means you wouldn't know what cards they have left in their hand. So then that would like hide the card types that they have.
Yeah, the
And
checks used to
so
be like a lot more complicated.
but you know now if you see if a card is revealed, you'll just always see it forever. But it used to be based on what you could reasonably assume by looking at things. Yeah.
There were so many states that affected, like, can the player actually see this card and so on. And like all of them working together sometimes made the effect extremely complicated, so during the testing it was just changed to be in the correct form, because it's like much easier to understand and follow when actually playing. Easy.
Jeez.
Actually, I
I've
guess
been
another
redeemed
example could just be
one
that
of the few times I
non-players
ever
used
been
to.
on stream.
Another example could just be that non-players used to be able to land on like summons landing on traps or whatever. I think like before My Wild Friends, that was just like a thing. Like the bounty hunt summons could just land on traps, but that's like now they can't land on traps at all. And I think that's a potential complicated interaction that has been toned down.
I would hop into spectator, but that would... Oh, okay. If you hop in, I can...
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Let's not worry.
Azure wants to play the new co-op plays. Boss, let's go.
I
So
will
our
judge you
Tagmas
from
stream's
afar.
getting extended to co-op now. Anything goes.
I will judge you as the co-op player.
And the very next question is by Grimmy, who is also in the Steam chat. I'm curious on your thoughts on the harrowing Haruka's current balance. Do you still believe a hero Haruka landed where you'd like? I don't know questions to ask for this Q&A. So I'll follow up something I said with Flay about a month ago back. I think it's surprising the number of elements that contribute to her win rate without events, and I think it's somewhat interesting topic. I like that even if something were needed, it seems simple to adjust due to the way things like her hyper or return. The self revives, of course, a lot more complex as you naturally know, since it would add a new gorilla playstyle, dual Siberi +5 hit point caster. Not worried regardless, I bear great faith in the team. Heinos Haruka is awesome. Canada is best, playing them forever, and Popo Misrad 2 I already rolled zeros and aimed Pompo stones at people pre-release. Oh, feel free to revisit this additional message so my questions aren't back to back, but I'm curious if any Season 3 DLC will be male. If too early to reveal, that's cool. It's not a big deal for me currently, but I imagine some others out there may be more curious than myself. Well, that was a very short question. No thoughts, head empty.
No breathing required.
Well, as for the question about Season 3 DLC about having male characters, that is an interesting topic because so far we haven't seen a single male character in the whole Season 3 story, I believe. So do they even exist? I guess time will tell. And we have a question by my IRL name, which team member has the pottiest mouth, which I will of course ignore. There are no correct answers to this question.
This be such a funny question to answer, though.
I don't know, would be difficult. Maybe someone is able to answer that, but I have no idea what I would say to that. I have not observed these nuances enough.
I think another thing to be considered is that, like, I'm pretty sure all of us kind of try to limit it when talking to each other, because it's like, ooh, we're doing professional things. We gotta talk less. So anything offered would be like your own personal experience of yourself and not representative of what happens when you're actually in the fruit bat talks. I mean, also if you try to swear, then like press will be like, don't swear. So
That
you
is
know.
true, that is true. He's there to keep us in line. Scorpion Card asks, do Fruit Bat Factory have any intention of expanding or creating a larger staff with consideration of the project to remake 100% Orange Juice? Well, the thing is we kinda did that already in the past when we hired more programmers who are now happily working for us for this express purpose. And at the time we went with the Unity angle, which has now a while ago been switched around, but you can say that Orange Juice has already kind of been remade. It's just the approach ended up changing. But we are not planning to hire more staff to remake 100% Orange Juice because we already basically did that. And also, well, more staff is always also a finance question, and having like a compact team is one of the reasons that we have been able to keep the development going for a long time. So we never want to like overextend in that sense. And we have a question by Bobberlington, who is also in the stream with us. Which feature in the game made you go, oh my god, I hate everything, this thing is impossible to code for, I'm going to destroy the whole universe? In this case, feature can be anything of any scale, including just random specific interactions between characters, and the accompanying frustration that comes from a super specific edge case being broken. Well, there's a very simple answer to this question that probably most devs would agree on, but there might also be some more interesting ones that are not quite as obvious. And I think the most obvious one is my wild friends. That is like the single interaction in the game that has given like more headache and dev time than pretty much anything else.
One card changed the whole game.
Yes.
For this very rerun, we had to address My Wild Friends bugs because they would participate in castle building and
That is
snowball
true.
fights.
Before the Christmas event rerun, when we were testing it, all the My Wild Friends would also take part in the snow castle building and the snowball fights. So yeah, it cannot be understated like how many changes have resulted from My Wild Friends.
Alice, if you're out there watching this, know you've made OJ history with that.
But we're doing this to ourselves. I mean, we also added a mixer for
And the funny thing is that when we were like choosing new cards to implement based on like all the previous polling, and we were like voting between the team like which ones to actually add to the game, I was sure that that one is not gonna make it because all the developers would agree that it's going to be a nightmare. So I was very surprised that that one actually made it in, and I was like, well, the devs have spoken. And I'm sure they never had
Oh,
any
so
regrets about that.
So the devs actually choose which ones they want to work on.
Yeah, we had like a group voting about which cards to actually add in those community packs. So that is proof that the devs definitely don't approach that question from what is the easiest to implement angle, or my wild friends would never have happened. But it's a pretty fun card at least. Meitä Kannata fan is asking, will there ever be any kind of collab? That is also a tricky question because one of our like basic principles for the game has always been that, well, it's 100% orange juice, so we want to keep it 100% orange juice, and if you like added some collab characters from a different game, then it would no longer feel like 100% orange juice in that sense. But so of course that puts some limitations of on collaborations, because usually those would be like, oh, add this character from game X to a game. That would be like the most default form of collaboration in this kind of game. But it doesn't mean that we can't have collaborations, and I would like to see more of those in the future. We did have like the Sakura Miko collaboration where we got the extra costume or skin for Kiriko. So that kind of things can happen with like a costume or a skin for a character based on something else.
There was also the Bullet Orange collaboration.
Oh yeah, true. So basically, any kind of collaboration that wouldn't add an actual character from a different game could happen in OJ, as far as I'm concerned. And we have had some talks about some other ones as well, but those didn't pan out so far. Oh, in the Discord chat, Sarah actually answered that question about features by saying my wild friends, and yeah, absolutely correct. And Sarah is also asking, if you had to guess, how far are we into Season 3? How much time do you think it will take for us to reach the end of it? And for that, I don't have any answer at the moment. Even I don't know, to be honest. In general, when it comes to like stories we get from OJ, we don't like demand to know everything that's planned in the future. We'll just go with what we are given when it comes to those. We also like just seeing how things develop. Not everything is like super planned out in advance always. In the case of like the Season 3 cast in general, we have noticed that there's been a lot more advanced planning than sometimes from Orange Juice. Even like when new characters are getting added, they already have like consideration for other characters that will get added in the future more than usual. So that has been like a very interesting theme to observe from the developer side. And we have a question from Zephyr Dragonlord on Discord. What do you all think of the previous and potentially current groups that treat 100% Orange Juice as a competitive game? That's a fun question. I'm aware that there have been groups, there are some groups who do like competitive games for OJ, and I think that's super cool. I don't feel it's like the main form of playing 100% Orange Juice, but I think it's very cool that people can find a way to play even a very RNG heavy game like 100% Orange Juice competitively. And I wish them all the best in that endeavor. I think it's super cool. QB executive and investor is asking who's getting the next swimsuit. And of course that's going to be manager. Azure is trying to give some propaganda that's going to be sham, but no, it's gonna be manager, sorry.
Vote in the comments on who you think is correct.
And Philipastras, a no name guy, is also asking what events other than Season 2 are you thinking of retiring, if any? Again, not something we have discussed for the immediate future, but in general, like, let's say we add a new Christmas event next year. Then we might look at like, okay, we have like way too many Christmas events now, it would be difficult to like rerun these in a reasonable time frame, so at that point we would probably retire one of them. Yeah, that's usually like how the process works. And Black Note is asking, will you still consider adjusting Yuki Dangerous? Or will there be a new event similar to previous Yuki Dangerous? Yeah, there is actually like one further adjustment to Yuki Dangerous that we do have planned. That is probably gonna be like a pretty good answer to all the different angles that people have expressed from what they want from her gameplay. It's somewhere on our to-do list. It was just a bit more complicated than what we had previously, so it wasn't something we could do like immediately. And now I think we finally got to the start of the actual dev stream in terms of like the questions on Discord. All the ones up to now were from before the stream. And the stream has already been going live for 2 hours, so I think the event is ending in 25 minutes, so we have until 10 to go through all of them. So again, if we don't end up making it to the end and there's still some questions, we will just get to those in the next dev stream we do, so don't worry about it.
MarkVD100 over in the Discord asked, I still wonder if the debuff you get from doing a snowball prevents the use of snowball cards are intended or not.
That's not a question, that's just a bug report.
Yeah.
It does seem to be confusing though.
Well, I'm gonna say it again. There's no way that it's intended. It's just it's not a description anywhere. It's totally just a bug. There's no way you could interpret this in any other way. Unless like the chilled stock effect got changed and I didn't know about it. There's no way this is like. I'm going into the files right now just to make sure.
I like Birds ask, is there any particular reason why Sweet Paradise, Sweet Creators Hyper, has different card art in co-op? Just because. The reason is that the artist Ikuse actually gave us 2 different versions, like which one do you want to use for this hyper, and they were both so good that even though we chose one to use as for the main one, we decided to use the other one for the co-op as well.
I feel like that kind of thing happens a lot. That also happened in the Triple Trouble event. That's the reason there's 2 versions of the Beach Breaker dice.
Oh yeah, that sometimes happens, like we just like place an order for some cosmetic or whatever artwork related, and sometimes the artist will just like present several completely finished ones, and we're like, okay, all of these are like very good, we can't just like waste this effort, so we should add this as well. It happens a lot with like dice and stuff.
Finally, your ice cream.
Yeah, cheers.
Grimmy is asking again about Haru's balance stuff in the Steam chat, but it's not something that I have like looked into right now, so it will be difficult to answer. Those are always complicated topics. She was a character that was a bit difficult to balance pre-release because she was like extremely strong, so she ended up slightly more toned down from that.
Actually, in general, I guess the story of how overpowered characters are in development is like an interesting one that it's like I've always hoped to be able to bring it up in a stream, because there are definitely some
It's
that
too
have
bad
like
no one ever asked about that, right?
there are some that have completely ridiculous stories.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also the
It's
consideration
fair to
sometimes
say
of,
that a character being like completely balanced right out of the box is extremely rare, if it like ever happens. Like maybe it's happened a few times, but no immediate examples come to mind.
I think Popomi looks pretty cool. Pretty
And when
fun.
you say right out of the box, you mean when we get the initial concept, and then we
Basically,
have
yeah.
to adjust it before,
Oh.
like, a lot of pre-release adjustments happen. Yeah.
And a lot of those happen before it even gets into testing, so most of you haven't even seen those original concepts necessarily for most characters.
I want to talk about Pearl Pajamas.
I see what you mean.
I mean, it's also the case sometimes where a character will one character will eat up all the balancing time, and then the other one will result in being like kind of the other one, which was like less broken, will now appear to be like it won't get as much time, and then that will get into the other character being broken because all the effort went into the one of the characters, which is even more broken. Yeah.
Arias asks, Starbreaker swimsuit wear event. Yeah, the swimsuits you can see in this Triple Trouble or Troublemakers boss fight, they were in the... It was Triple Trouble, right, the event name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. They were in the new event this fall. And you could unlock the swimsuit skins for the characters in that event. So it just ran earlier this year, so it's probably not gonna come again for a while, but there's always like some summer events during the general summer season from spring to autumn, and you can unlock some swimsuits in those. And some of them are actually also in the retired events that you can access at any time. I believe Beach Party is one, for example. Oh yeah, and I also have a nice question from Yoshihime DNW from Discord. Currently, 100% Orange Juice has 2 concurrent events, Clubroom Challengers and Santa Scramble. It seems less common to run 2 events simultaneously, so may I ask if there are plans to hold more dual concurrent events in 2026? And the reason you haven't been seeing them before is that the whole technology to be able to run 2 of them at the same time was only added in one of the most recent updates. It was for the Halloween update, I believe.
Yeah.
Because the Halloween
that was when
event
we
ran at the
ran
same time as Triple
and
Trouble, yes.
Operation Halloween at the
right.
same time.
People were expecting that the Halloween event would run sometime in November because we already had Triple Trouble running, but we added the ability to run 2 events at the same time so that we could have Halloween for actually Halloween. And now that we have the ability, we did the same with Christmas, so that might be something that will happen more with the seasonal events that are more tied to actually calendar, whereas on some of the other events we are more flexible on working with them, and they might end up running at the same time. So now we don't need to worry about scheduling them so much. But in general, it's not like something like we always plan to have 2 events running at the same time. It's still gonna be like an exception. And we also try to have breaks between events, because sometimes people can get exhausted if we are always running events, and we want to avoid that. Grimy has an interesting comment on the Steam chat. Not really a question, but I think it's interesting how sometimes a character can get buffed via card rather than a stat. And that's definitely something that happens, in terms of specific examples. You could say that every time new gift cards get added, it's a buff to some specific characters, like Chi, for example. But also sometimes a new card can get added that does something specific that a character can benefit from way more than other characters. So it's definitely something that can happen.
I remember we were very careful with designing, look how long my arms and legs are. Because it's a pretty big change just to the mechanic of trap placing that would enable trap characters to just have a lot more flexibility.
Swintgrain is asking, have there been any characters whose passive were scrapped to something different, despite the original passive being more faithful to their original appearance? And off the top of my head, I don't remember any such cases. Whenever we do adjustments to characters, we try to be very faithful to the teaming. So that's always one of the top priorities in what kind of changes we make. Nothing comes to mind right away, at least for that kind of change.
I think if anything,
let me discard first. Oh well.
I think if anything, some changes are tried to make. Sometimes they try to make changes that add more theming. Even I'm sure there are examples of this, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Actually, I can think of one that's
Yeah, I would agree that's probably something that more commonly happens. If we feel like a character needs a bit something more, then we will probably add something that's more in theme with them than just the original abilities were.
I always liked how when Mescal got the new stock effect post-released, I felt like it added more theming to her. Because it's like she's telling the pirates to back off.
I wrote another one in Discord, but not sure about liberty to say it, but yeah.
good damage.
Okay, yeah, I guess we can mention Cookie in this context. Like the hungry passive that she has is something that she didn't originally have, but it was like the +3 evade is a pretty problematic flat stat to have. So we were looking for a way to still make that work, like keep the +3 evade instead of like lowering it, because it's like extremely polarizing with some characters. Then we end up with the hungry passive, which is like more thematic with her like character and lore. So in that way, we added something more thematic for her over the original.
Damn, GG's nonetheless.
The hammer jump scare.
Yeah. Are we up for another game or no time for this?
I think the stream is gonna end in 10 minutes, so we should probably call it around here, but let's see if there's some super relevant question that we should answer before we call it, and we can just mark the rest of the questions for the next dev stream if there were some. I think there were probably a few that we didn't get to yet. But let's see if there's something that we really should answer in this one.
Yeah.
That's like more time sensitive or stuff like that. While we go over the Discord chat, still feel free to ask questions on Steam as well. We still got like 10 minutes, even though I don't think we'll start a new game because it wouldn't finish in the next 10 minutes.
Probably.
I mean, considering regular games barrel can almost never last 10 minutes co-op.
Yeah. It would
almost
be a
certainly
bit
not.
unusual.
Well, just
I
like
mean, if
start
you
a
all
game
die
becomes
in
hyper
10 minutes,
M10 and then
so
die really fast.
We had like 4 games? 4 or 5? No, 4 games in 2 hours. Damn.
Okay, I can give this one because Azure already answered this on Discord, but during the stream Moons asked on Discord, I want to know why some characters' cards have different poses. Like most of them have the default standing pose, but some of them have a different pose, and I was always curious about that, like why is that? Is it just random? And Azure replied, pretty much dependent on the mood of whoever was in charge of the graphic, who made the unit card basically, which is often the same dev who is in charge of just implementing the overall character. And I think that was like the most relevant one. There's a few... Well, actually, there's not that many characters. It's like more common chat, so maybe we have time to go over all the remaining ones. Let's see. Rafa makes a nice comment that might be of interest to the viewers as well. The game is at the moment 650,000 lines of code, excluding all external libraries. Apparently he just checked. So just maybe a fun bit of trivia.
Bigger than I would have expected.
Yeah.
And the entire code base is just, of a rough estimate I would make, is at least 10 times bigger than the original game's code. And the final question seems to be by Reiji. Which OJ character eats the most snow? This is very important.
I would say
Alrighty,
Mimi
it's too
Jabber
short.
based on the first game.
Yeah, but I feel that Cook could also give her a good show. I feel
Clearly, we
like
need
she
to have
would
a
be able
competition
to
between
eat
them.
a lot of snow.
Pomeranius is too short to avoid it getting into his mouth.
Why do you think he's white as snow?
But all right, I think we actually got through all of the questions just before we run out of time, so that's very nice. It was very nice to see so many people in the on the Discord and also in the Steam chat. We had like 150 viewers for most of the dev stream. That's very cool. And I will be posting this VOD, which I was recording, I just checked, on YouTube later. Since we had some technical issues at the start, I was like, did I actually start recording it as well? But luckily I did, so no worries on that front. So yeah,
Phew.
thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will be back with more of these. Think about questions for next time, whenever. And if you missed the stream, you will see it. You will not be hearing my saying this, but it will be on YouTube. So, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
See you, thank you.
Farewell.